we would like to discuss about that fundamental unit of life which we know as cell. Cell is the fundamental unit of life. If we talk about the plants and animal cell, we are quite similar to each other. It's there is very few differences between the plant and animal cell. The biggest difference between plant cell and animal cell is presence of cell wall
Cell wall.
in plant cell and absence of cell wall in animal cell. Second difference is that presence of chloroplast or plastids in plant cell and absence of plastids in animal cell. Then the third difference is size of the vacuole. Size of the vacuole in animal cell is bigger, whereas
Small.
the size of vacuole in plant cell is small. It means
मैम
that
प्लांट सेल में तो बिगर होता है.
bigger is yes, the size of vacuole in plant cell is bigger, whereas in animal it is smaller. It means that if we compare animal cell and plant cell, we are quite similar to each other. But if we talk about the organism itself, we are quite different from each animal and plant. You can see when we talk about the complete organism, when we talk about the complete organism, when we talk about the fully grown organism of plant as well as in animal, you can see that we are quite different from each other. Quite different. Like we, the animals, can locomote from one place to another place. We can move from easily from one place to another place, but plant cannot move. Plant do not show this kind of locomotion. So the question arises, if at cellular level we are quite similar to each other, then at which level of organization we become different from each other? But for that, what we have to do, we have to first of all understand the various levels of organization in an organism. You know that there are millions of cells because of which an organism is formed. Now, what is the level of organization in the organism? We have to first of all understand that. The basic structure and functional unit of life is cell, right? Then when different types of an organism is not made up of only one type of cell. An organism is made up of different type of cells, right? But when the similar type of cells combine and start performing in synchronized manner, then it gives rise to tissue, right? Then when similar type of tissues combine, right, and start working together in a synchronized manner, then we call it as organ. And when different organs, when whole of organ, just a moment, I would like to join these students. When an organ start working together, all the components of the organ start working together. For example, there is given on your screen heart. when the different components of the heart, in which the aorta is present, in which the septum is present, in which the atrium is present, in which the ventricle is present, when all these components of the organ start working together in a synchronized manner, then we call it as organ system. Sorry, my board is small, but it must be go like this. So, but as the board is small, organ system, or I would like to write it like this. It is cell which will give rise to tissue. Tissue start working together in coordination with each other. This is organization in an organism. Then when all the parts of the organ start working together, it can form organ system, right? And when different types of the organ system work in accordance with each other in a synchronized manner, then it gives rise to organism. There is not a single level of organization in an organism. There is different level of organization in an organism. At which stage, now we have to find out of this question, that at which stage we become totally different from each other. Plants, there is a difference between the plants, and you can see the visible difference between the plant and animal tissue. It is this second level of organization where you can find out that there is the difference. Yes, this is the plant tissue, which is quite different from that of an animal tissue. So at second level of organization, we are quite different from each other. Now, if there is an organism which is made up of only one cell, we call it as unicellular organism. And unicellular organism, all the functions like movement, intake of food, respiration, circulation, excretion, all are carried by the single cell. But in multicellular organisms, which are made up of million and billion and trillions of cells, all the functions are being carried by different systems. Like we are having a lung system to breathe in. We are having digestive system to eat the food and to digest it. Then to take up the solid food and to throw out the waste. To throw out the waste which is being generated with our body, we are having one more system associated with that, and that is what we call as excretory system, right? So in multicellular organism, the different tissues, the group of cells are the one which perform the different functions. So now we have to discuss that what is a tissue? A group of cells that are similar in structure and origin. Similar in structure and origin and perform this similar type of function, right, is called as tissue. Tissue is the group of similar or dissimilar cells sometimes also. When we are talking about complex tissue, there we are not having only single type of cell, there we are having the multiple number of cells. In a complex tissue, we are not having a single cell, but we are having many type of cell. But these cells start performing together in a synchronized manner. So that give rise to a tissue. So a tissue is a group of similar or dissimilar cells arranged and designed to perform the same function and have the same origin. You know, the as I have told you, at tissue level, we are quite different from the plant tissues are quite different from the animal tissue. So we are having tissues can be subdivided into two groups. Tissues can be subdivided into two groups. One is called as plant tissue and one is called as animal tissue, because these are quite different from each other, right? Now I would like to present the next slide. You can see that there is the difference between the animal tissue and plant tissue. Since animals are mobile, that means they move from one place, locomotion. Since animals show the locomotion, so their demand of energy will be more, and hence more living tissues are required, whereas there is no energy, very less demand of energy in case of plant cell, because they show only movement. There is difference between movement and locomotion. If we move from one place to another place, if we move from one place to another place, this is what we call as locomotion. But if there is only the movement at its own place, like what I am doing to my hand, this is not locomotion, this is just movement. So for movement, their plant do not show locomotion, plant show only movement. So their demand of energy is not as it is in case of human. So their demand of energy will be less. So definitely their tissues will be somehow different. So they don't require more living tissues. They can work with the dead tissues also, right? So there is lot of difference in the structural and organizational level in the animal tissue and in the plant tissue. Next is that plant tissue. You can see here, now we will talk about in plant tissues in detail. If we talk about the plant tissues can be generally categorized into two subheadings. One is meristematic tissue and one is permanent tissue. Now, what is meristematic tissue and what is permanent tissue? That we have to find out. We have to find out what is meant by meristematic tissue and what is meant by permanent tissue. Let me tell you, students, I am missing this chapter. Why? Because I used to take the students out in the outer environment. When I was teaching this in the school, I used to take them to the plants so that they can easily identify the various levels of organization, so that they can easily identify that where is the meristematic tissue present and where is the permanent tissue present. But now, as you know, that we are in the lockdown stage, we are in that particular you can say in the environment where we cannot move out, so we have to bear with this kind of PPTs only in order to understand. Even then, I will try to bring some videos which will help you to understand the more what is meristematic tissue and one is permanent tissue, right? Now we have to understand what is meristematic tissue and what is permanent tissue. How meristematic tissue is different from the permanent tissue. Meristematic tissue are those tissues which have the capability to divide, and they are present in the specific region of the plant. Meristematic tissue has the ability to divide. If they have ability to divide, that means if they have ability to go from 1 to 2, they have to ability to divide itself. They are living ones. What are they? They are the living ones. So meristematic tissues are those tissues which are the living one, whereas the permanent tissue have lost their ability to divide. This is the basic difference between the meristematic tissue and permanent tissue, that meristematic tissue has the ability to divide, whereas the permanent tissue has have lost their ability to divide. All right. Now there are these meristematic tissues. Now what is the function and how we can identify them? The meristematic tissue cells are a group of cells which have the ability to divide. So they will be present in those areas of the plant where the growth is taking place. On your screen you can see that there is the presence of apical meristem, there is the presence of intercalary meristem, there is the presence of lateral meristem. But before we discuss about the apical meristem, intercalary meristem and lateral meristem, we have to understand that how can we identify that which cells are the meristematic cell. The cells of the meristematic tissue, the cells of the meristematic tissue are either they are round, means if we try to find out the shape of the meristematic tissue, for example, we will take a meristematic tissue and make a slide of it. We will take a meristematic tissue and make a slide of it. Once we go back to the school, then we will be able to see that when you see it under the magnifying, under the compound microscope, where the cells are magnified up to 200 times, 400 times, depending upon power of the microscope, you will be able to see that the cells which make up the meristematic tissue are either round like this, or they are oval shape also. Oval shape. They can be polygonal shape. Polygonal shape which is having many sides. Okay. Or they can be in the rectangular shape also. Alright. So there can be the meristematic, the cells which make up the meristematic tissue are of different shapes. When they are arranged, now let me tell you about intercellular space. I have arranged all these cells and you can see that there is the space between these cells when I have tried to arrange. There is this space. You can see when I try to arrange that there is this space between the cells. This space we call as intercellular space. But when you see the meristematic tissue under the microscope, you will see that there is no such space between these cells. When the cells are, no such space is seen in the meristematic cell. So there is the absence of intercellular space between the cells. The cell wall of these cells is very, very thin and is made up of cellulose, right? Then cytoplasma of these cells which make up the meristem, which made up the meristematic tissue is dense, and each cell have a prominent nucleus, well defined nucleus, visible nucleus, which is visible from outside, right? Which is visible in each and every cell. They are having this nucleus. But in these cells, in the meristematic cells, the vacuole are small in size, or in some of the cells, vacuole can be absent also. So these are the characteristics of the meristematic cells which make up the meristematic tissue. Now, where are they found? They are found on the growing regions, which is located on the growing tips, like which is present on the shoot. There you can see on the screen, which is present on the shoot, that we call as apical meristem, right? Shoot apical and root apical, which is present in the growing tips, where from the growth is taking place. For example, where from the growth is taking place, they are called as apical meristem. The growing tips of the shoot, of the root, they are called as apical meristem. So let me tell you, on the basis of the presence of the meristematic tissue, where the meristematic tissue is present, we are having three types of meristematic tissues. On the basis of the presence of the meristematic tissue, we are having three types of meristematic tissue. One is apical meristem, one is intercalary meristem, and one is lateral meristem. And where is the apical present? It is present on the growing tips of the, for example, if this is the plant, these are the roots, right? Where the growings, there on the growing tip of the branches, you will find the meristematic tissue, which we call as apical meristem. And even in the roots, you will find this, which we call as apical meristem. What is the primary function of this? Is to increase the height of the plant, or increase the length of the root, right? Second is intercalary meristem. At the base of leaves or internodes, it is present. They are intercalary meristem we are talking about. It is located in between the region of permanent tissue or at the base of the leaves, and contributes in the longitudinal growth of the plant. It is present on the base, where from the leaf is, for example, if the leaf is, this is the leaf, for example, where from the leaf comes out, this is called as node, right? And the difference between the two nodes is known as internode. This is what we call as internodes. So where can you locate the intercalary meristem? At the base of the leaves or internodes. You can note them, and you can note their presence here at the base of the nodes, right? Where from the, you can see from this diagram, which is there on your screen, you can locate them. What is their function? Their function is to increase in the length of the organ, like leaves and internodes. Then there is lateral meristem. Okay. Lateral meristems are located laterally and cause increase in the girth or in the on the sides of the stem and roots. It is present on the side. For example, if this is if this is the tree and this is the stem of the tree, in lateral meristem will be present here in the stem, on the sides of stem and even on the sides of roots. Why it is there? It increases the diameter of the stem. It increases the girth of the stem. For example, if I consider that this is the stem of the plant cell, if this is the stem of the plant, where I can locate, I will locate the lateral meristem here and here, right? Why? Because it increases the diameter, it increases the girth, it increases the girth of the plant. Hope that this must be quite clear to you. This is the secondary growth. Cork, cambium found beneath. Okay. So where is lateral? They are located laterally and causes increase in the girth of the stem or root. For example, cambium tissue जो होता है, that helps to know the age of the plant. That's mostly made up of the lateral meristem. Right? Okay, only now 1 minute is left. So this was all about the meristematic tissue. Now tomorrow we will be discussing about the permanent tissue. So meristematic tissue are those tissues which has ability to divide, which has ability to form the new cells, which has the power to grow. And they, let me tell you, they empower the plant. It is because of the plant tissue, it is because of the meristematic tissue that plant is able to grow. Now, where the growth will take place, in those particular regions, you can find out the presence of a tissue that is known as meristematic tissue. Then, the meristematic tissues are of different type, like their presence and their location will try to, you can segregate the meristematic tissue. We can segregate the meristematic tissue on the basis of their location. We are having apical, we are having intercalary, and we are having lateral.